Kori with Kori and Jared Photography, also the creator of Stories with Kori. And we just have a heart to share some stories of incredible people doing some incredible things in our community. We hope that you find some encouragement to kind of make an impact on the world around you. And so today we are hanging out with my dear friend Crystal. And Crystal has been a good friend of ours for quite a few years. Both of us are foster and adoptive mamas, and we just have a heart for foster care and foster youth. We connected quite a few years ago. I guess we've known each other for a long time, knew of each other, but it was really when we got connected walking through the foster and adoptive process that we kind of did some life together.
Yeah.
So it was good stuff. She is working with Love All Our Kids, which is a local agency here, and doing some incredible work. And so today I just want her to share with you what she's doing and how you can make an impact just right here in our area. So,
Absolutely.
Crystal, tell me a little bit about who you are.
Okay, well, I'm Crystal, and I am a wife to an amazing man named TJ, and together we have a kind of big family. We have 4 children. Our oldest 2 are biological sons, and then after having them, then we felt like maybe we wanted to grow our family through foster care and adoption, and so our youngest 2 came to us through that. So that's a little bit about my personal side, and then professionally, I'm like Kori mentioned, the Love All Our Kids director here in town.
Very cool. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about why it is that you do what you do.
Well, I can remember as a little girl just always being drawn to people that need help. I just remember, really young memories of, seeing homeless people on the side of the street or just seeing people in need. And so I've always been drawn to how can I help those people. And so as I grew older, and especially when we started to talk about growing our family through foster care and adoption, I really began to learn about the realities of the foster care system. Yeah. And honestly, I was just really shocked. I had a quote unquote great childhood, and so I had no idea. And so once I started learning about what some of these kiddos go through, I couldn't not see it. I couldn't go back to not knowing. Yeah. And so it just really was this moment for me where I just, I couldn't look away. And I started to really, I think, hone in my passion. I felt like God was really, really leading me towards more of this general helping people and this general social work to wanting to help children and their families in the foster care system.
Yeah, and I remember that moment for us, for our family, when Jared and I were considering foster care and adoption. We went to a county orientation. And so it was really in that orientation when we heard from social workers that just how great the need was and what the specific needs were of the kids in our area. And so I think when you learn of just the gravity of the situation and how close the situations are, like it's not someone somewhere, it is literally kids by name in our community right next door. And so I think that was really what made the world of difference. And like you said, like once you hear it, like you can't really turn your back on it.
Yeah.
And so I love that. So tell me a little bit about what Love All Our Kids is and how you make a difference in our community.
Okay. Well, Love All Our Kids is actually sort of a branch of Love Our Cities or Love Modesto. A lot of cities in this area have that, and so many of you might be familiar with that. And so Love All Our Kids is kind of a component of that, and what we do is find ways to meet the needs of foster children and their families in our community. So my current position started about last August, I guess now, so it hasn't been a year yet. And so it's kind of under a grant between Love Our Cities and Stanislaus County Child Welfare. Okay. And so now we're working more directly with the social workers there to sort of identify these needs, and then it's my job to go out into the community and inspire people to help, get involved and to give people really tangible ways to help. Yeah. Because I think there's just a lot of people who really want to help. When they hear about it, they go, yeah, I want to, but I don't feel like I can be a foster adoptive parent. And so, I don't know. I don't know where those needs are. I don't know how to get in contact with people. So it's my job really to make it very easy.
Yeah, I love that. We just agree with you so much that, we as a community, like we have an incredible responsibility to support these kids and to love on these kids. And so even though you might not feel called to foster and adoption in this season, it really takes all of us, all of us in some way, big and small. And so I love the work that you guys are doing to really bridge that gap and, be the go-between between what the needs are and the communities to connect those needs. Because there really are. I believe wholeheartedly there are incredible people in our community who want to serve and want to do the work, and sometimes you don't always know what it is, and so you're on the front lines really figuring out what that work is.
Absolutely.
Which is good work. Hard work, but good work.
Yes. So, absolutely.
Tell us a little bit. What are some of those practical ways that we can help bridge the gap and stand in the gap where people need it?
Sure. Well, I like to say that like we've been saying, there's something for everyone.
Yeah.
So it's really just figuring out sort of where your lane is and where you're at in your life, and sort of figuring out ways that you can get involved. So some of those ways are, and I like to say sort of. Our passion behind this is that obviously if we can come alongside vulnerable, birth families and support them and help them to keep kids in their families of origin, obviously that's the number one goal.
Absolutely.
Now that can't always happen for a variety of reasons. And so then we have to look at ways that we can, help these children once they're removed and as they sort of navigate these different placements. And then on the flip side, we want, there's a lot of children or young adults that age out of the foster care system without any support of a family. And the statistics are staggering how many of those children, when you don't have the support of even just one caring adult in your life, you can end up, in homeless situations, human trafficking, jail, things like that, addictions. And so it's figuring out how to support them on that end too. So there's really so many different avenues, ways you can sort of jump in. And so some of the practical things is, as I mentioned, I work with down at the county office with social workers who sort of look at some of those vulnerable families where maybe there's nothing criminal going on, but they need some help getting from point A to point B. And so they submit referrals with very clear, specific, we need a bed for this family. We need, we have a single dad who needs food for 3 weeks before his food stamps start, or those kinds of things. And so then
can be something simple as a bag of groceries.
Very easy like that. So I have people who want to get that information because they're ready and willing to go on Amazon and purchase things and send it where it needs to go.
Amazon, making it easy.
Oh, that's right.
It's so easy to even help serve.
Totally. You don't have to leave your couch. But then I also, some people say, well, I have a couch, but I don't have a way to bring it to the family. So I have a list of people who say, the way I can help is I can drive things from one place to the other. So I have people helping in that respect. I have... we have needs for hygiene kits that we use both down at the county when kids come into care, and also there's a teen drop-in center for foster youth downtown. So for homeless teens who need extra help with that, or maybe they're getting ready for a job interview, but they don't have access to a shower and they need some dry shampoo and some deodorant. So I have groups, community groups, or just friends groups who go, what, we're going to do that. We're going to do that as a service project, and we're
could be a great project even to do this summer as your kids are home from school. This is an opportunity where it doesn't take a whole lot of time. It doesn't take a whole lot of, effort. You collect them, you invest them, and it's a great time to really talk about this.
And it's really great too to introduce your kids to these needs, and just to go, as a family, we're going to do this. There are people out there that need this. And then one of, the biggest ways one of the bigger things that we do is our Christmas Comfort Kit Drive. That comes up every December, where we invite the community to come together and to put together what we call a comfort kit.
And so we have some of the comfort kits kind of located behind this. We kind of displayed them so you could see what those look like. And they look like, kind of different. I know you guys have really streamlined the process for comfort kits so that, it makes it easier to deliver and all that good stuff. Tell us what a comfort kit is and how it's used.
Well, for those of you that don't know, when a child is removed, it's often kind of an emergency situation. So a social worker will go out, sometimes with law enforcement or different people, just really scary situation. And then they put the child in the back of a county car, and then they're driven to the county office where they sort of wait to find a safe place for the child to go. And so a lot of these kids come into care with nothing. There's no time to take anything, or for a variety of reasons, they're not able to take the things that they have. And so If they do get a moment to bring a few things, they in the past have been handed a black trash bag, which, there's just no dignity in that. And what is that really conveying to a child? And so that's sort of what the need is and what the situation is. And so we really thought, what is a way that we can sort of make a child feel seen in those moments?
Yeah.
There's no way to completely take the gravity of that situation away, but what can we do to help them? So inside a comfort kit, well, what it is it's a reusable bag, so it can be like a small suitcase or a backpack. And the idea is to get rid of the black trash bag, so it's something they can use if they have to go to multiple placements. But inside is a variety of things that meet both physical needs, emotional needs, all of those kinds of things. So it can be things like a snack or a water bottle. So when they're put in the back of that car, they're given, something really tangible. They might be hungry or have not eaten for a while. So you're meeting that need right away. But also items that they can use when they're waiting in those hours. They're in an office building with people and there's nothing for them to do. And so it gives them, coloring or toys or games or things for them to do. It also we place in there items of comfort for that first scary night away. Sometimes when I think of, even when you move homes and you're not used to all the different sounds and smells and stuff, it takes a while to fall asleep, and that can be scary. And so for them to have a blanket or a stuffed animal to cuddle, or, I've heard from social workers how important flashlights are, that a lot of these children are scared of the dark. And so when they can control how light it is in their room, super helpful. And, one of the biggest responses I've gotten that I just love is that, we went into it, how can we help these kids? But they are so helpful for social workers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, these social workers, they have a hard job. They're on the front lines. They're making these hard decisions. They're seeing, just these situations that are heartbreaking. And they can still seem scary to these kids because they're a stranger. They're being taken from everything they've ever known. And so this is just a tool that they're able to use to kind of bridge that gap. And they're more approachable, and they've just been able to connect with the kids in that way. And so I've just heard from social workers how much they love them. Yeah.
We have a heart to support the work that you guys are doing, and then also our local county. And so one of the things that we have done, and we've done it for a while, is we actually serve, we get a lot of people asking, what is upstairs? Like, what are those stairs for in the cottage? And so we have actually stored quite a few backpacks. Our local county does not have a storage unit for them. And so they are stored here, and then they just come pick up what they need. And so we have a heart to support you guys in that, and we love that. And one of the stories that we heard from our local county was just that, that there was a little girl who had been removed from, a home, and this comfort kit, when she opened it up, like as she was being removed, when she opened it up, it had things that were, that had cats in them. And so now I'm not a big cat person, sorry, I'm outing myself, but she loved them. And so for her, like the fact that there was something that had, there's no detail that goes unconsidered, right? I feel like the Lord just knows. But that detail meant all of the difference to her. In a hard time, on a hard day, that was the thing that brought her, comfort. And then the other impact to that too is that the other supply that was in that bag was a stationery kit. And so for her heart really wanted to say goodbye to her friends, right? Like, she's being removed from the situation, she's being removed from, her school, and so she wanted to write her friends like goodbye letters. And so this stationery kit that was in this comfort kit that somebody went to the store and purchased, not even knowing what, who that would go to, like those two items and things in this bag made all the difference. And so those are just those real tangible ways that on a really hard day can make a difference in somebody else's life. And you can't even imagine what that looks like. And so I feel like it's been an honor to even just hear some of these stories as they come back. Like, they're huge.
Yeah. And I mean, I was shocked to find out that there's over 800 children that come in and out of foster care just in Stanislaus County alone. And, I like to say, like, each of those numbers has a name, and each of those names has a story. And like Kori shared, these are kids that play sports with our kids or go to our kids' schools. These are real children, and they're all individual and they're all unique. And one of the things we love about comfort kits is we never wanted them to be sort of mass produced. That's what I love about them is they're so individual, and so many times I see how the perfect bag is just matched up to the perfect child. And one of the things that now we include that we didn't in the past that we've heard has such an impact is just an encouraging note, something very simple, just you are loved, you are seen, your life matters, you're important, and how that just goes a long way for these children to feel when their world is very, chaotic, they don't know where they're going next, that they feel seen and that they have something that's their own, that they're given. So yeah, it's a really cool part of what I get to do.
And so one of the things that you guys do is you guys now meet together, right? Like, and I don't even want to say meet because you guys have quite the operation that goes into it now. But so you guys kind of produce these comfort kits, and you rely on people volunteering to show up and to help put these kits together.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked a little bit about some of the ways that you can get involved in the community. We've talked about being a donation, or providing donations. We've talked about those comfort kits that are near and dear to our hearts. And then one of the newer things for our area is talking about safe families. And so tell me a little bit about what it means to be a safe family and how that works.
Okay. Well, some of these families and who are vulnerable and sort of going through tragic kind of things, they just need a little extra help, like someone to come alongside their family, almost like an extended family member type relationship, who can maybe watch their kids while they work through whatever they need to get through. So it might be a parent who's going in for surgery, but they don't have anyone to, so many of us take for granted having such a great support system, and we all know it takes a community to raise children. I could never do it without grandparents.
Ever.
Ever. Our family would not work without that. So but there are people in our community who just don't have that luxury. And so Safe Families is families who are stepping up to maybe not full on foster and adopt, but they're saying, hey, I'll watch a child for 2 weeks and be sort of that person who stands in the gap for that family. Or maybe they're homeless and they're trying to secure housing, but they want their children in a safe home environment while they kind of get all that up and running, and then they can move back together.
Which is an incredible opportunity, because then it leaves CPS, it leaves child services out of it. It leaves that part, so that it allows families to remain intact and to support them while they need it.
And that's the whole goal of Safe Families, is to how can we keep children from having to fully enter the foster care system, when it really is just, all of us are one life event away from kind of being in that same spot where we need, some extra help to get from one place to another. And so, that has recently been kind of started up again in our community, and I know the county is very excited about it.
Absolutely.
So that's also on our website, listed there for people who might be interested in that. So there's just a variety of places that you can sort of enter in and sort of use your gifts and talents, or the things you're already doing in life to help get involved.
That's awesome.
So,
share with me this little quote. I feel like there's such encouragement in your quote that you share with us.
Yeah. Well, one quote, I don't even remember where I read it exactly, but I think it was paraphrased by Martin Luther King. And it says, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter." And I feel like when I read it, it kind of just was one of those moments where it jumped off the page, and I felt like it really described that moment. Once I really learned the realities of what was happening, it was like I had two choices to make. I could just try and hunker down, keep my family, safe, and just kind of do our own thing, which I'm guilty of always, wanting that, just not wanting to get out of my comfort zone. I'm just going to, we're going to do our own thing. Or I could sort of step out and speak up about these things. And really at the end of my life, what do I want? And it can be scary. Often I say, like, mine was like a hesitant yes, like, okay, like a whispered yes. Like,
I feel like our prayer was, we're praying that the doors would close. So we will continue to walk through this process.
We did that too.
Until these doors closed, and they just didn't, because it is hard work. It continues to be hard work. But it is the good work, and it is so much, it's the needed work. And so, especially people who do life day in and day out with us, like they know firsthand, how hard this is, even in this season of life. And so we definitely will never sugarcoat this. Like, this is hard stuff. Absolutely. It is in the trenches, and it continues to be in the trenches. But yet people matter, these kids matter, and so that's why we show up. That's why we rely on the Lord to have enough bravery to do the next thing, to take that next step, to wake up that next day.
And also wouldn't be able to do it without that community
Yeah.
around us. I just, I think that's what I love about this is just, it's a way for us all to do something. I think sometimes, there's these big problems in society or in our world, and it can just be like, well, that's just too big. Like, we're going to fix the foster care system. How can we do that? Like,
I remember literally in our class, so we showed up for foster parent training, and somebody, from the back row, was literally like, well, can you tell me how you're going to fix the foster care system? People tell me there's, brokenness in the system.
Yeah.
And literally, the teacher in the foster care, in that class, literally looked at it, was like, one loving foster family at a time, that was literally her response.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, again, we know that we cannot change everything. We cannot do it all. You can't do it all, but yet together we can do a lot.
Absolutely. And it just often just takes one caring adult, just one. And you may not be able to fix everything, but if we all are in a lane doing things together, that's how change happens. That's how, things get done. So yeah.
I like it. Well, this is Crystal, and Crystal has, they have a very special Instagram page, and so you can actually follow their Instagram page so you can check out the very real tangible needs that are week in and week out. And then you can also find more information on their website. So one of the things that we know and we've learned as we've been kind of sharing these stories is that giveaways kind of, they attract a lot of attention, and we love them. And so we believe wholeheartedly in what they are doing with Love All Our Kids. And so we want to give away a couple of pop-in portrait gift certificates. And so again, we believe in the work that you guys are doing. And so if we do a little bit of that social media love and like their Instagram page, which we will put all of the complete details on the giveaway as we share this on all of the things. But we are going to give away a couple of pop-in portraits if you follow them and kind of like all that good stuff. So again, we just want to connect the community with what they're doing. And so how do we grow, grow, I don't know, the need base or, the community of servers, right?
Yeah.
How do we connect us with what the needs are? And so I believe that the best way to do that is to see what you guys have going on. So
absolutely.
I thank you so much for joining us today. You have been a gem. I always appreciate her heart. I feel like, I feel like you have an incredible heart to serve, and I have enjoyed our time today. We hope that you guys have been encouraged just to be connected with what the real tangible needs are in our local community. And I know that both Crystal and I would also love to talk privately. I did not ask her before. I just okay. Let me volunteer myself. If you have personal questions about foster care and adoption,
I'd be happy as well.
I totally did not tell her that was coming. But I know that is our heart, right? Sometimes maybe contacting county is not the first step for you. Maybe you have questions. Maybe you want a real life answer. I promise you that I will give you a real life answer. I will answer your questions because we believe that we know that this is hard, but we know that it requires a little bit of authenticity as you take those hard next steps. And so, Crystal has offered that she would be willing as well. So
whatever gets kids and families.
I know. And sometimes that's that first step. That was the first step for us.
Oh yeah. Me too.
We took a couple out and said, do you think we can do this?
Yeah.
And so it was a good way to go. So anyways, thanks again guys for tuning in. We appreciate your time. We know we've gone a little bit long today, but we really believe that it was worth it. So have a great day. Thank you.
All right.